EBS TV, television reloaded.
Traffic gridlock around the Ramat Park has this. But thank God our guest is here this morning, and we'll be looking at the rising cost of food items and the way forward. My name is Josephine Eimihe. As in Nigeria, or is globally, you find that the cost of living is increasing daily, and there's this geometric proportion in the increase of food items. We're talking behind camera just now that last time you go to the market, the price of these is 100. The next time you go is either 150 or 200. And we all need food to be healthy. We all need food to stay alive. So, and this increasing cost of food items, what are we going to do about it? What is the way forward? These are what we'll be looking at this morning on Issues and Answers. Before we start, I bring you our guest this morning. We have a story. There is a video clip. One of our reporters went out to sample the prices of some food items in the marketplace. Let's hear him.
Over the years, prices of food items have always been on the high side, leaving many at a crossroad. The astronomical increase in the prices of foodstuff have no doubt adversely affected several other responsibilities at homes. Residents in Benin City expressed worries over the harsh realities of the time, lamenting the over 100% increase in the prices of food items affecting their purchasing power.
Those people, when those bushers, when they come to buy, you see, they come back car when they buy 500 before. Now it's going to 800,000 naira. Tomatoes, when they buy 100 naira before, now it's almost 500 naira. And we beg the government, they make this very easy for us with the poor ones one day.
It will be times 2 now, too much. If they're there now, make they carry and down for us. Who will they say, no, they they say. Who buy all they buy, they cry. You don't they say again. We go buy something, I go say I go shut up because you they buy, they don't buy again.
A motor here, motor wari go 1,500. Okay, do demi. Emi no adeni nia. Udo tigo no ya akin ayo. Udo tigo, we go no we. Udo tie you we. Abi hakere.
For instance, a cow which used to sell for 400,000 now sells for over 1 million naira. Secretary of the State Cattle Dealers Association, Umar Mohammed, who spoke off camera, and Chairman Tomatoes Market at Duwawa, Alhaji Sani Abdullahi, blamed the development on high cost of transportation.
I think cause of this problem na motor issue. And motor of the shutter before 100,000, now it's 200. Small bus of the shutter 100,000, 80,000, now it's 200. What of the diesel? You understand? Yeah. So that trailer before the shutter 500, 400. Now it's 800,000. Now the shutter trailer for not only.
Others are lamenting the unbearable increase in the prices of different food items.
What I buy 10,000 naira that day now, can be 20,000. So I don't know what to happen more. Whether na fertilizer with the DA now, whether na motor with the PA DA, whether na people will not get money, now that one at the top. So at the play now, may everything go on the cheap. More people see what you go chop.
Everything don't hide now. For the business, you don't spoil everything. Yeah. You buy meat, you buy one cow or one leg, that's 80,000. For you go slice, you go roast some 40,000 and sell to all my going to see for the one leg.
Every day you are top. The carton all the 35,000. The carton may at least 50 pieces, so 40 something pieces. Who are there 50,000? So okay, the others in the country money are going to
people when they make we run go village, we don't know where to go. Things are too expensive now. Everybody is going through hardship. They told you can buy. If you buy something today, before you go to the market, it will go very high. So we don't know what to do now. I believe everybody is trying through hell. Even accommodation, wahala. There's nothing you can boast of. Not to the children, not to the family. There's nothing you can. When we are able to feed, have a square meal a day, it's very difficult.
Both buyers and sellers are expectant that government would intervene with a view to addressing issues responsible for the sharp increase in the prices of food items. Food, no doubt, remains indispensable in the life of man. Justin Egmo, EBS News.
This morning we have a retired permanent secretary, a consultant in agri and food security, and chairman Green Acres Nigeria is Malam Ikeluwa Alasa. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. You saw the reports concerning the increase in food items. Sir, you are into farm produce, you are a farmer and others. What do you think is the reason behind this geometric increase in price of food items, farm produce especially?
I think the major issue is there is shortage of supply. Food supply is short. There's no doubt about that. Food supply is short. Once food supply is short and the demand is far, far higher, food is a basic necessity. It's not something you can postpone. It's not something you can prioritize. You must buy. Even if tomorrow they say a cup of garri is 200 naira.
You must buy.
You must buy. That is the difference. But with something else, you tell me that the price of cloth has increased, I may decide to postpone. If you tell me that school fees has increased, I may decide to tell my child to go to home lesson and whatever. But food cannot be postponed. So I think the major thing is that there is shortage in supply. The reason for the shortage in supply is a different thing altogether. But the basic fact is that there is shortage of supply.
All right, you telling us from this perspective is like eye-opening, because some persons attribute this increase to unions, various unions in the market. Some attribute it to the hike in transportation fare. But hearing it from your angle that there is shortage in supply. And when you say shortage in supply, how do you mean? Can you explain?
And what I mean is that the quantity of food available to Nigerians to buy is less than what it used to be per capita, per head. The amount of food available per head is definitely short. The issue of you can only unionize what you have. You cannot unionize what you don't have. If there's surplusity of food and you unionize, you may end up losing.
That's it.
Particularly when you know that food items are perishable. The food items are perishable. So there's an extent to which you can unionize. The basic truth is that there is shortage of food. And the reasons for the shortage of food, there are very many.
Please, let's hear.
Very, very many. One of the reasons for the shortage of food is that the population of Nigerians who are into agriculture. Don't forget, we are still in subsistence agriculture. We are not in mechanized agriculture where one person can feed as many people as possible. We are still in the subsistence stage. From our survey, an average Nigerian farmer does not cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. So then, population is rising. Population is rising, and this population that is rising is mainly urban based.
Okay.
It's mainly urban based. So most of the.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just hope you speak louder because they want to hear you.
Yeah. See, what I'm trying to say is that there are many reasons for the shortage of food. Don't forget that the average Nigerian farmer cultivates 2 hectares. So we are still in a subsistence agriculture. There's no doubt about that. We've not gone to the level of mechanized agriculture where you don't need to have too many people in the farm. Few people can feed the nation. There are many countries like in the United States, Canada, Israel, where you have less than 10% of the population in agriculture. But this 10% feed the nation, and they have surplus for export. They have surplus for storage in their strategic grain reserve, because they the agriculture is mechanized. They are using every scientific method to produce food. We have not got it to that stage. We are still in a subsistence stage where the farmer cultivates an average of 2 hectares and also cultivated inefficiently. So even those 2 hectares are not giving you the highest potential. Now, the issue also is that population is rising very, very geometrically. And food production is rising arithmetically. In other words, 1 to 2 to 3, whereas population 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, in that proportion. So except you have a very, very, very strategic and workable agricultural production system that can cope up with that rising population, we are going to be having food crisis in terms of price. The other issue that you should also take note of is that even if little quantity of food that is being produced is also being wasted, there are research publications that indicate that over 70% of the food produced is wasted due to bio deterioration, due to spoilage, due to inefficient processes, due to lack of storage
facilities,
and poor packaging and processing.
Wow.
If you go to the market, if you are somebody who's emotional, you may weep. You go to the market, see basket of tomatoes that are thrown away at the end of the day. Basket of pepper thrown away, carrot thrown away, all sorts of things thrown away. But there's someone in the corner there who cannot even have money to buy tomatoes. So you see, this process needs to be coordinated and managed to ensure that the supply chain of the food is regular. The little you produce, we don't produce enough. Even the one we produce is not properly managed because of poor storage, poor processing, and poor packaging. For example, if like in China, I have always made an example with China because I'm very familiar with that. I was in Najik Agricultural University. What they do is that at the end of the day, they move around the market. Every perishable food item that is not bought is packaged and stored.
Every day?
Every day.
There are some persons that go out to do that.
Yes, that's the arrangement. So you cannot bring your tomatoes and say, oh, they didn't buy it, don't spoil it, then you go and throw it away. No. So that is one. Then secondly, they also like what you have in India, which I'm also familiar with. They have small scale processing unit, family scale, not large machinery that you cannot get spare part. That is, as you are now, you have a small tomatoes processing unit in your house. Yourself and your husband and your child, you just manage it, process the tomatoes, package.
You can sell.
You can sell, and it's not going to spoil. The same thing with other food items. The same thing with other food items. So that is one. Then secondly, before now, we used to have what you call strategic food reserve. The strategic food reserve, the object is that once prices are high like this, then you release the food to the market. It will reduce the price because supply will now be more than demand. So that is the purpose of strategic food reserve. All these things you are seeing now, what we call silos. You are going to Auchi, by Iroa, you see something that look like big drums. And you go to Auchi, by the police station behind there, and you go to Jetu, you also see them. In Gobazwa, you also see some. Those are silos. The objective of those things was that any year that there is surplus of food, don't forget that food production is also weather dependent. depending on many agro-ecological conditions that you don't have control over. So we are bound to have food shortages, surpluses, food shortages, change. But each time you have food surplus, then the surplus is put in that reserve. Like I tell you now, for example, if there's no food at all, there's no rainfall at all, nothing happens, the United States can feed its citizens for at least 30 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, 30 years, because of what they have in their strategic, grain reserve. So that is the areas. Those one we don't have it. Then we have also, as scientists, we have also advised that those things may not maybe be too complex for the Nigerian because of Nigeria factor. Why don't you have small scale on-farm storage facilities that the farmer can manage by himself? Who is
to provide this? Is it the farmer or government this time?
The government can facilitate, okay, and the farmer provide. By way of facilitation, I mean some kind of support. Because at the end of the day, it is in the interest of government that food supply is there and affordable.
Okay, all right. Before we go further, you said when you were talking that Nigeria, we are still in the subsistence farming, yes, not mechanized. Yes. Is it that the farmers don't want to go into mechanized farming, that they just want to remain small, to do these small hectares of farm? What are the reasons?
There are many factors. One of the factors is that for now, mechanization in Nigeria has a lot of limitation. For example, in the south, you have to contend with so many trees, you have to contend with swamp, then you also have to contend with spare parts, which are mostly imported. So once these heavy machineries, once they break down, you cannot do much. That is one. Then secondly, the land acquisition system. See, one of the factors of the material agriculture is land fragmentation. That you have land from. I'm here now. I have maybe 10 hectares of land. And that is, when I die, that is what my children are entitled to. So in effect, each of them will now have 1 hectare. In their own time, when they live and they are no more, that 1 hectare will also be fragmented.
Yes.
So what we have is land fragmentation, especially in the south. We don't have enough land in the south. When I mean land,
we have love.
They are
grasses everywhere.
The land is present, is there. You can see it. Yeah. The land is present, but not available, because they all have one equivalence or the other. When you enter, you say, "Oh, there's land." You enter now, I say, "Oh, the land of the community is for this, is for this." Where government comes in, and I believe that this government is doing something about that, to ensure that the process of agricultural land acquisition is eased.
What you're trying to say, that we still have much way to go concerning mechanized farming.
A lot to go. A lot to go. The machinery, they are very expensive. Then there are no spare parts. You should know that the earlier attempt in agricultural mechanization all failed woefully. We have the Agbede mechanized farm. We have the Warake mechanized farm. We have the Oria mechanized farm. They have all failed. They fail because of the factors that I have mentioned. Then secondly, our soil, the type of soil that we have, is also a contributing factor. The type of soil that we have. But you see, like in the north, there are a lot of mechanized farms in the north.
Oh, that means it's selective, not that it's in Nigeria.
Yeah, in the north.
It's in the south.
Yes.
It's a southern problem.
Yes, because you have a grassland. If a bulldozer is going to work, they just have few trees to remove, few rocks to deal with. Then mechanization is extremely possible there. But in the south, it's a different ball game altogether.
Is there a way out of this? Is it that, are we going to remain like this, that, oh, this is a problem of the south, that we continue to remain as subsistence farmers as against being mechanized?
No. The point is that that is why Nigeria is highly blessed, because every ecological zone has some area where it has comparative advantage agriculturally. For example, most of the areas in south, they are well endowed in the production of tree crops and fruit crops.
Okay.
Which is not possible in the north because of their own weather. For example, here, Nigeria could have been the leading palm oil producing country in the world. It was once so. Ditto for rubber, for cocoa, and so forth and so on. The reason for the tree crop doing very well in the south is that, you see, when the soils in the south, they are mostly sandy and porous. When rain fall, the nutrient on top of the soil, they are drained down.
Okay.
So that's why, unlike in the north, most of the area slightly clay, so water retention is higher. When this is what we call vertical erosion or leaching, call it vertical erosion or leaching. So when the nutrient on top of the soil, they are leached downward, the food crops that the roots are not very deep, they will not have access to that. That's why you need to continually use fertilizer.
Okay.
And the fertilizers
are not available.
Okay. Where they are available, the farmer may not be willing to use. When the farmer is willing to use, he may not even have the expertise to use or the skill. So it's a problem.
Okay.
But the tree crop, the roots are deep.
So they can flourish.
They can collect the nutrient from anywhere in the soil. That's why the south is very, very endowed in the production of all the tree crops.
All right. Thank you so much. Talking about when you get to the market, you see a lot of baskets of tomatoes wasting away, cucumber, all of them. Is there a way, apart from the scientific way, to store these? Is there a way the market woman can store tomatoes, basket of tomatoes, from getting rotten within a space of 50? Yeah,
there are many ways to do that. First and foremost, you can dry the tomatoes.
Okay.
You can dry the tomatoes, or you dry them when you want to use them.
But what is if it's raining season?
Well, the rainy season, there are small scale dryers. There are small scale dryers.
Continue.
Our people, what they used to do those days, when they make fire on top, there's a slab on top.
Yes.
Then the fire is below. On that slab there, that is where they dry everything they have to use. So that is one way of doing
preserving.
That. Then there are other ways. Everybody cannot afford the deep freezer. Everybody cannot afford the deep freezer. But there are other ways that you can do, like your 80 pots. You can put some vegetable there and put in a cool place. Then there is also, this is extremely technical.
Or if
there are many, because what we need to do is like vegetable. One, you can also slice and dry.
What I'm thinking here, if the state government or local government can be involved, if they can have a storage room, for instance, where there is constant light and there is like a deep freezer or a cold room that the tomatoes that were unable to be sold that particular day, you can store them. Is that feasible?
It's feasible. I think what government is also doing, there is a lot of advisory services, what we call agricultural extension advisory services. Try to teach farmers what they can do, what we call on-farm storage. There are few technologies that are valuable, which we cannot go through in this forum.
Yes.
But the government, both at the federal and state level, through their agricultural extension delivery services, teach farmers. There's a program called Women in Agriculture, Women in Development. These are all to teach farmers how to store food, how to process food and package for the purpose of storage. Then, even apart from these perishables, even things like maize, like yam and what have you, they also suffer some losses due to insect attack, due to attack by fungi, due to attack by nematodes. There are also agrochemicals to control this. For example, your grain, be it maize, be it beans. We are using grain now for beans in a practical sense. Be your rice, be your millet, be it your sorghum. If you, there are
ways to preserve all those ones.
Yes.
All right.
Photosynthesis tablet. It's
right.
when you put it, it releases the gas gradually.
Preserve it.
When the gas releases, the insect die.
We're out of time, sir. But before we go, what can be done to reduce this high cost of food, farm produce right now? Just tell us again briefly.
Yeah, what can be done is, well, government, there's nothing wrong when there is a situation like this. Nothing wrong. But on the short run, you can import food. On the short run, you can import food. Then also, there are short duration crops which you can encourage farmers to grow. For instance, there are maize varieties that within 70 days to 75 days you are harvesting. There are cowpeas variety that within 60 days you are harvesting. Then of course there's no doubt that despite the general shortages of food, generally there's shortage of food, but that is not to say there are no pockets of areas where you have surplus that is being wasted, that are not able to get to the urban area as a result of transportation problems. There's no doubt about that. So you can also put all this together, coordinate and manage them, and ensure that food is
all right,
available.
Thank you so much. We can't take much of this, but we're looking forward to see you again, to have you on this discourse so that you can tell us better ways to address this rising cost of food items. We've been looking at the rising cost of food items, the way forward, and thank you, Malam Ikeluwa Alasa Hamid, for your thoughts this morning, for sharing your thoughts with us. He's a retired permanent secretary, a consultant in agri and food security, and chairman, Green Acres Nigeria. He has been sharing his thoughts with us, and thank you once again for that. And on behalf of my producer, Godwin Inobakale, thank you so much for creating our time for this program. And from me here, thank you for staying with us on Issues and Answers. Next week is another time. I'm Josephine Ehimihe. Do have a good and productive day.
Thank you.
EBS TV, Television Reloaded.